get started. And again, this should only be about 10 minutes, give or take. So you'll see that the first thing I'm going to do from my dashboard, I am going to go ahead and I am going to click collection in RedJade. So from our dashboard, I'm going to click collection. This is going to take me to my collection window. Now you will note that what I am doing right now, you have to have admin rights for. If you don't have admin rights and need admin rights, you can ask the person with admin rights at your location. If you're not sure who that is, send an email to support@redjade.net and we will assist you. Okay. So what you're going to do from here is you're going to click on this locations button, and then you're going to click the site that you want to edit. So you click on the site and you click this edit button here, or you could have clicked the pencil from the other place. Now from here in rooms, I'm going to add a new room. And here I'm going to add a room and call this panelist computers. Okay. So all I did is I went to my location, I clicked to edit my location, and I add a new room by clicking on the plus button here. And then I'm going to click submit. Now, when I go back to the locations and click on my San Francisco site, you'll notice that I now, instead of having booth area 1, 2, 3, and 4, I now have this new room called panelist computers. Okay. So from here, I can click get activation code and it will reveal this activation code to me. Okay. Now I have a letter that I have written that I'm happy to share with anybody, but I will also post this to the support site. But basically there are 4 instructions that your panelist will need in order to set up their computers. So I will go ahead and slide this over for you. But your panelist needs to follow these very simple steps. So feel free to take a screenshot or anything if you want to as well. But basically all they have to do is they go to this surveys.redjade.net. Right? We recommend Google Chrome. RedJade will not work on Internet Explorer. And we recommend that your panels, typically expert panels, are doing line scales. We highly recommend that your panelists use at least a tablet. Line scales on the phone are not very user-friendly. They're extremely short, and line scales were originally all developed with a 15-centimeter line length in mind. 15 centimeters or 6 inches, they're roughly the same length. So the idea there is that a phone at its best, even if it is horizontal, a line scale could only be about 3.5 to 4 inches long. Okay, so we highly recommend that you suggest to your panelists that they at a minimum use a tablet, an iPad, tablet, personal computer, laptop, etc. Right? They're going to go to surveys.redjade.net. We recommend using Google Chrome. It will not work on Internet Explorer, right? So that should be in the instructions. RedJade will ask for an activation code. You're going to enter that activation code, the AQHIL. Now this is different for every single company. This is for my company, okay, and my room. It's actually a room specific code. It's going to ask you to name your station. All the panelists needs to do is put in their name. They will now be registered. If for some reason they delete their cookie, RedJade saves a cookie in their browser, they will need to complete steps 1 through 3 again and use a different name for the station. Okay, so it's a really easy process. We had a client do this yesterday and they copied me on the note. They did this yesterday and all of their panelists had no problem at all registering their booths by themselves. Okay, so it is a very simple process that most people can follow. And from my client's point of view, these were people who were not extremely computer literate. So that better bodes well for this process as well. Okay, so that's the setup. And the nice thing here is as your panelists add their computers, you'll be able to see their names show up here as well, right? Because you're telling them to name it with their first name. And so as they register their computer, it's going to show up here. So in the project, right? So now I'm in the project section. So this is where I'm going to set up my project in Redjade. I'm going to conduct this test on site. Again, on site doesn't mean that the test is being conducted at your site. On site means that your test is being conducted on a computer that you have control over. And you, by having your respondents register a cookie in their computer, now have control over those computers in the sense that you can control when your test is available on those computers. Okay, you're going to choose self-check-in, right? So self-check-in is going to allow that panelist to log in either with their code or their email address that is registered in Redjade. And remember, why we're doing that is we want that individual panelist to automatically be tied to their panel, their data, sorry, to be tied to their panel, and to be tied to their panel performance metrics over time. And so you know who that person is when you run your descriptive analysis, so that you can help guide your panelists in terms of making them better at their job. Are they good at all the attributes? Do they rate attributes consistently? Do they have any crossover? So on and so forth, right? But this allows you to do that. The other step that you're going to do in this case is you're going to do participant verified. The idea here is you want the person to enter the design block row that they have, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so self-check-in, participant verified on site are the key takeaways from step 1. Step 2, the key takeaway here will be to select your correct panel, right? So that does step 1, identifies who that panelist is in Redjade. Step 2 ties that panelist to the correct panel data set. Okay. Step 3, you're scheduling when you want the test to be active on the subject's computers. Now, what we have done is we've suggested that you make the test available for a longer period of time because they may not log in exactly when you want them to, right? A lot of people have kids at home right now. Their day is not as organized as they may love it to be, right? As I'm sure many of you know, I for sure well know that my day is a little bit different than it used to be. So you might give them a bigger, broader window to complete their testing, okay? And you can, of course, you would schedule it for as many days as you need as well. When you're doing your questionnaires, if you want to better control to make sure that that person cannot complete 2 days worth of testing on one day, you're going to want to edit the test instructions and make your participant end screen, right? If you want to log them out of the system for something like 8 hours, right? You would want somewhere around 30,000 seconds. I know that's not exact, but that's roughly 8 hours, right? 8 times 3,600. That would lock them out of the system for 8 hours. They can't log back in until those 8 hours are up. Okay. So you may want to do that here as well. Now I'm just going to create the world's simplest questionnaire here because we really want to move on to the next step. So we're going to do single sample. You can do confirm or verify. Confirm is nice because you can even write something in the instructions that says, make sure that you go get this product next. This is the product that you should be evaluating next. And let me just really quickly add a line scale here so that we can move along. Okay, so that's our line scale. This is a 100-point line scale with weak and strong at 8.3 and 91.7. And also, I know people on this call know this, but if you put in the modality, it'll automatically group all of your attributes by modality. And you can further modify that by using a time or region as well. And the reporting name, of course, pulls from this white box, or you can override it. If you don't want the word flavor, you can just put vanilla. Okay, so if there's anybody on the call who has not built a descriptive test in Redjade, that's how you can group all of your attributes together automatically. But I'm going to go ahead and move along because this is not the important part, right? And what I was also mentioning is in your test instructions, in the sample start screen, if you use confirm, you might say, please make sure that you evaluate the product indicated below and click confirm to continue, and you probably won't have a server to go get you the correct product in your home. Okay. Let me see real quickly. I did see a question pop through, so give me 1 second here. Can several tests be scheduled at the same time with the same panelists? Yes, you can do several tests at the same time with the same panelists. That's more of an advanced feature in RedJade. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, but you can basically tell RedJade that the person can select one test at a time and they can evaluate the product. So there's actually a couple of different ways that you can do it. But yes is the short answer to that question. And we'll go ahead and click next. Our last step is design block, right? And so here I want to show you a couple of things. One, we have our design block. So of course it's going to use a Williams square design here, right? And we'll go ahead and add a repetition. So we'll do 2 repetitions and we'll do 1 day per group, right? And what that means is that we're going to do 1 full 6 product evaluation per day, right? You'll see that RedJade assigns a 3-digit code for each product for each repetition. If you don't like the random 3-digit codes RedJade chose, again, just go into actions and do edit blinding codes. Okay. Now, when you're done with this process, you're going to click approve, right? And then I'm going to download this block, right? So let me go ahead and export this block. And then I'm going to open it up. All right, so the last step here is you are going to use this block to send it to your panelists, right? And I'll show you a couple of things. One is this verification code here, right, is what we use in step 1, right? Remember, in my location step here, I went ahead and I said that we're going to do participant verified, right? Now, what I would suggest is that the individual that you use is that you use that verification code in order for the person to validate what design block row they have. So for example, KZ7P is for this design block row, right? If you use something like the 1001, 1002, which will also verify their design block row here, it will absolutely work. The issue is that when you're doing this project in home, which you have a little bit less control over, right? You may have somebody type 1002 on accident instead of 1001. And now you're going to have an issue. Your panelists are going to reach out to you and you're going to have to resolve that problem. Instead, you can use this verification code, which is not impossible, but highly improbable that somebody will accidentally type in the incorrect code, right? 36 to the 4th power is a big number. And so it's very improbable that somebody will type in that incorrect code. Okay. Now you'll also notice that there's what looks like an O or a 0. Those are all O's, just to be really clear. And these are case sensitive, right? And so now you could even edit this, right? So we were doing 6 samples a day. So you might even write in here a little page break here, right? And you might want to clean up this document so that it makes it easier for the person evaluating the product, right? This is day 2. Right? We're going to get rid of our participant code and maybe here instead you write in the subject's login ID, right? So there's lots of different things that you can do here to make this easy. Now you can even print out this last page if you wanted to send this to your panelist, right? So you'll notice here that this is like day 1 for this specific panelist. You could always get rid of the sample here, or you can just clean up this block and send it. But there's lots of ways that you can send this to your panelists. Now, you're going to be sending them products anyway, or they're going to be coming by your office to pick up products. I would just recommend that you use this output from RedJade to create a document that you can easily put in the box or bag of products when the person comes in to pick up their product set. Okay. And like I said, this is a pretty quick one, so I am going to go ahead and stop recording. If anybody has